On the GBPUSD, we have been bullish this week so far, but things are looking a little bit choppy in the last 24 hours. Before we go into the details on that one, let's look at how the week has started for us on the GBPUSD. So now look at what we have here on the 1 hour time frame. We saw the week started on a bearish note where we had the resistant line for the week sitting at the 1.24200 level. So we saw at the beginning of the week how buyers were finding it difficult to break out of the structure, hereby giving us signals of how strong the sellers were at the beginning of the week, and we were opportune to have one sell position at the breakdown of the 1.240 level at the beginning of this week, where price action moved about 50 pips thereabouts before this bullish momentum began. And yesterday, during our live session yesterday, I told us how important the 1.24200 level, which was the resistant line had the week, is going to be our key structure for yesterday's trading session. And I said a breakout retest of that level, anything above that structure, is an area we want to feel comfortable in a buy position. And as you can see, in the last 24 hours, price has spent most of the time right above the 1.2420 level. And following the consumer sentiment index report from the UK docket this morning, we saw this engulfing bullish candle spring out of the 1.242 one more time again, and this moved about a 53 pips in our favor before this bearish move came to the downside. I hope you are able to scoop some profit off that move as price action moved in that direction, and I do hope you moved your stop loss accordingly to lock in some profit, as we normally do as soon as price moves in our favor. And if you have done that, well done to you, as you would have scooped in at least some profit, though it might not be as significant as expected on that one. So right now, as we head into the New York session today, what is going to be our plans? What are we going to be looking at on this chart that will give us an inclination of what to do? Well, the first thing I would like to state here is to acknowledge the fact that price action has been bullish since the beginning of this week. As you can see, we've been witnessing some higher lows in this market, and when we connect the series of higher lows, what we have here is a beautiful bullish trend line, which we agreed on yesterday as going to be serving as our yardstick for trading activity. And what this simply means is that as long as price action remains above that trend line, we shall feel comfortable in our buy position. And for the sake of clarity here, I would like to see if this trend line still fits into the current structure. Okay, it does fit in, so we are still very good on that one. And if we look at the candle chart, let's do some little readjustment, and here we go. We still have that bullish trend line looking very valid at this point. Now, the next point of concentration is that sell window we identified yesterday. And look at the sell window here, situated between the 1.25 and the 1.24500 area. Remember, we identified the sell window here after taking into consideration the impulsive move that started at the 1.255 level to the downside. And I told us all that the bullish momentum we witnessed during the later part of the New York session on Monday may likely be a retracement of that impulsive move to the downside, where I said we shall be looking out for selling pressure around that sell window to anticipate a trend continuation to the downside. And if you look at what has been happening here since the early hours of today, we have been noticing selling pressure just right around that sell window. Look at after the CPI event this morning, we saw our price action do sharp rejections of the 1.2470 level, giving us a clue of how present the sellers are at this point. So despite the engulfing bullish candle we saw this morning, we saw that buyers could not maintain that momentum to continue to the downside, and following that we saw engulfing bearish candles in the last couple of hours to further emphasize the strength of the sellers at this point. Now the next line of action is going to be around the expectation that this might likely turn out to be the beginning of that retracement phase to the downside. As you can see, we had the impulsive move right here, retracement into the structure. As we can see, buyers were finding it difficult to continue to the upside, though we still have the bullish trend line supporting that bullish momentum. But if at any point in time a breakdown of that bullish trend line happens, selling pressure resumes below the structure, we would have no choice than to get ready to sell the GBPUSD. So what we are looking forward to sell the GBPUSD is an outright breakdown retest of both the trend line and the 1.24200 level to join that move to the downside. And in fact, we'll still need some confirmation to happen in the form of a retest of that structure after it has been broken. And if we look at what has been happening since the beginning of today, we can see we have been seeing some bullish pressure, sharp rejection of the 1.240 level, hereby negating some selling pressure around that area. And this candle here is still showing us signs that buyers are still trying to maintain that momentum to the upside. So let's see what will happen at this point. So at this point in time, we need some level of patience around this area to be able to catch that move to either upside or downside here. Now selling the GBPUSD, I've told us we want to see a breakdown of both the trend line and the 1.2420, selling pressure below the structure where buyers find it difficult to continue to the upside. Then we could join that bearish move to the downside. Then we should have a sell stop order below the 1.2400 level. That is, if price action breaks down the structure, then it would have taken out all the buy position around that area. Then we would need some more liquidity, which will come in the form of retest selling pressure, which could welcome more selling opportunity on the GBPUSD. So on the GBPUSD today, I am tending towards a bearish momentum, so I'm looking forward to selling opportunity below the 1.24200 level, where a further breakdown of the 1.2400 will be welcoming more opportunities in this market. So in as much as we're looking out for selling opportunities, you all know what we do here. We want to ensure that we are also as flexible as the market. So we might likely be seeing some buying momentum come in since price is still along that trend line. And what do we want to be seeing here that will make us to buy the GBPUSD? Well, for me at this particular point in time, I would rather see price action climb back above that trend line and the 1.2420 level to give me a clue into a potential trend continuation to the upside. So I want to see a price climb up, probably then do some retests. I look out for some buy pressure, price action continue to find higher lows, then I will see that as a sign that buyers are gradually gaining some momentum. Then I could join that move to the upside and ensure that you are moving your stop loss accordingly. I cannot overemphasize the importance of moving your stop loss accordingly in any bullish momentum around this area. Remember, we have a sell window here which has a potential of sending price crashing to the downside. So if you are buying around this area, ensure you are moving your stop loss accordingly, locking in some profit as price action moves in your favor. So that is that on the GBPUSD for today. I hope I made myself clear, and if you have any questions, feel free to let me know in the comment section.